folks, welcome back to my Let's Play of Remember11, The Age of Infinity. And we're still talking to Utsumi. The terabyte disk seems like it's going to be quite important. For whatever reason, my cat is in my room here. Wonderful. Great. But for whatever reason, it has a lot of information that Utsumi found on it about Satoru, Uni, and I don't know about any of the other characters. So let's get the show back on the road.
ユキド君が乖離性同一性障害に陥っていること、あとは極めて説得力のある内容が延々と何ギガバイトにもわたって書かれていたとしか私だけ、もしくはユニ君だけしか知り得ないようなことが克明に、場合によってはご丁寧に動画データまでもが添付されていることもあって、だから私は信じることにしたのよ。信じざるを得なかったと言った方が的確かもしれないわね。
誰が書いたものかもわからないのに。
そんなのは些細なことよ。あなたも読めばきっと納得すると思うわ。
Okay, so is she gonna let us read it? In the end, the matter of Uni had been left unsettled. Kusada Uni exists to exist. Is that what pretty much, well, I guess more to exist, is what people aim to be. But yeah, this is all seeming really strange. I'll try borrowing it from Uni later. That said, I'll temporarily put the investigation into the mystery of Uni on hold. Now then, let's continue. The continuation of the list of things forgotten by me. I tried to think about the people of Mount Akakura. There were so many things related to Kokoro and Yomogi that I didn't know, which was reasonable. I could only remember them as victims caught in the avalanche along with Lynn. Well, come to think of it, I can't really say that I remember everything about Lynn either. I remember a lot from when we were dating, but I'd forgotten something quite important. Namely, the beginning and the end. In other words, how and why we started dating and why we broke up. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't remember. Had we really gone out? I doubted even that. However, I can't remember what I can't remember. Well, that seemed like a really confusing thing to say there. I decided it would be better to give up on that line of thought. That was roughly all the content in my memories. Incomprehensible indeed. There seemed to be no rhyme or reason as to what I remembered and what I had forgotten. The more I thought about how irrational it was, the more worried I became. Utsumi had this to say.
一般的な記憶障害とは明らかに異なるわね。私もあなたのような症例は見たことがないからよくわからないけど、でももしかしたら今のあなたという存在は有機道君の中に生まれた最も新しい別の人格なのかもしれない。そう考えてみれば過去の記憶がないことについても説明できるでしょ。断片的に覚えている部分があるのはそれが有機道君本人の記憶と直接リンクしているからなんじゃないかしら。あなたがこのスフィアで目覚めたのは確か今から1時間半ぐらい前だったわよね。だとしたら今のあなたは90分前に初めてこの世界に産声を上げた特殊な存在なのかもしれないわ。もちろん可能性の一つとしてだけれど。
My personality was born 90 minutes ago? So is she saying Satoru might not be the guy? And who would he be? That'd be something that would be good to know, I mean, he's supposed to be there. Even if Satoru has DID, and the guy who has DID that made the Satoru personality, What's his story? If Utsumi is really supposed to be there as a psychologist, she should know the guy who spawned from. The guy who Satoru spawned from. Strange as that sounds, spawned is probably not the proper phrase for it. But, it's the same deal with Inabushi Keigo. That's... If Hattori is also Inabushi Keiko, then who would Satoru be? There should be something that Utsumi should know if she actually really is working there as a psychiatrist. Or even if she's been there as a patient, she should probably still know that, unless they've all just popped into existence there in Spia. So that might be what happened. Got the feeling that I did mention this before, but I think that, to be honest, I think the events at Spia is happening before the events at Mount Akakura at the cabin. It's just the way it feels. That's nonsense. It couldn't be. I was about to lose my temper and started thinking about how I would prove it wrong even if it would cost me my life. But to my regret and dismay, I couldn't find no words to object to her statement with. The mere fact of my being here would surely imply the need for my identity to have a consistent past and history. But nevertheless, I just can't accept the reasoning. I most certainly have a past and a history. I might have had no basis for it right then, but I certainly felt a strong need to persuade myself of this. And so our talk ended. Simi also summed up the events that happened today for me. Up until this evening, it had been just another calm, ordinary day, everything proceeding as usual. And then, just after 4 p.m., during the raging blizzard, a bolt of lightning struck Spia's clock tower. Of course, since Utsumi didn't go outside, she couldn't say she'd witnessed the scene firsthand. But she had experienced the sound of the lightning hitting the tower, the shock that followed, and the flash from the other side of the window. What made the plane go down? Was it bad weather? Incidentally, at the same time, Utsumi had also witnessed a far more shocking scene. As the lightning bolt struck, Utsumi was in the living area, looking outside the window. In the darkness, a pale flash illuminated surroundings. That moment, at that exact instant... Oh. I fell from the clock tower alongside that bolt of lightning. The living area's window looked out onto the roofless terrace. This terrace was covered with a layer of snow about a meter thick. I thought she was saying like... Pew! Like he actually fell from the sky. That snow had acted as a cushion aiding my escape from death. Utsumi dug me out of the snow and carried me to the bedroom I woke up in. At that time, needless to say, I was unconscious. Around 5 p.m., although it was mentioned before, Utsumi found Uni inside Spia. The discovery took place in one of the rooms supposedly vacant till then. She'd heard an odd noise and opened the door to find a lone boy crouching on the floor. Utsumi was bewildered. Why is Kusada Uni here? She was puzzled, feeling something akin to fear. So she didn't try to talk to him. There's a kid in that room. I'm going in the other room. Around 8 p.m., Utsumi visited my room to check up on me. So... She was willing to help the guy who fell from the clock tower, but she wasn't wanting to help the kid that suddenly appeared. Utsumi visited my room to check up on me. Utsumi said I introduced myself as Speedy Kawakokoro then. That combined with Uni's sudden and unexplained appearance caused her to suddenly lash out. She slapped me, yelled, "Stop messing around," and left the room. Afterward, according to Uni, I looked in a mirror and went berserk. Utsumi, who heard the scream, rushed in and injected me with a sedative. Just like Inabushi a short while ago, I fell asleep in an instant. Utsumi and Uni then read through the contents of the mysterious terabyte disk. Then around 9 p.m., I opened my eyes as me in existence with the consciousness of Yukito Satoru. Since I'd remembered everything from that point on, there was no need for it to continue. Thus, Utsumi's long story ended. As I finished listening to it, I felt very refreshed. Of course, there was still a mountain of things I didn't understand. A whole mountain full of them. But the things I didn't understand and things I did understand, for me being able to make that distinction felt like a huge leap forward.
これで私の知っていることは全て話したわ。さあ、次はユニくんの番ね。ユニくんを呼んできてくれる？
Utsumi stood up and walked to the door. She put her hand on the doorknob. I too stood up from my chair, but I stopped just before leaving the room. There was still something bothering me. Why was he up there to begin with? Doesn't seem like it's supposed to be pretty common knowledge about how to get up there, because Utsumi said she didn't know how to get up there.
最後に一つだけ聞いてもいいか？
どうぞ。
俺はどうして時計台なんかに登ったりしたのかな？
そのことも覚えてないの？
あ、
じゃあなぜ時計台から落ちてしまったのかも
わからない。
そう。
内海さん、何か知ってるのか？
いいえ、あなたを最後に見かけたのは確か3時半を回った頃だったかしら。階段を降りていく後ろ姿がリビングの方から。
階段を降りた？
何か思い出した？
いや、何も。
Shook my head, my mouth slackening into a self-derisive grin.
これでもう十分でしょ。ユニくんを呼んできてちょうだい。
助かったよ。いろいろ教えてくれてありがとう。
Expressing my gratitude from the bottom of my heart, I left the room.
あ、そうだ。
There's more that she could have told him. Well, there's more that could be learned anyway. I don't know if she knows it, but I guess she doesn't have all the answers, probably. Just as I stepped into the living area, I heard a voice call out to me again. Turned around to see Utsumi on the other side of the open door where I'd last seen her.
ユキドくん、悪いんだけど、ダイニングテーブルにあるコーヒーカップ、片付けておいてもらえる？
Her gentle smile caught my mind immediately. There truly is a soothing force that transcends all reason within the smile of a beautiful woman.
わかったよ。
I returned her
ありが
smile.
とう。
Her smile broadened even further. An ordinary exchange of ordinary words and courtesies. Right now, even ordinary words like these feel so incredibly precious to me. Head towards the kitchen that on steps as light as a feather.
ずいぶん長かったね。
Uni sighed, sounding tired. Resting his chin in his hands, he looked at me with drowsy eyes from across the table.
何話してたの？
まあ、いろいろとな。内海さん、部屋で待ってるみたいだぞ。お前のことを呼んでこいって。
わかった。
With that lackadaisical answer, Uni left his seat. Swaying on his feet like a drunk, he headed toward Utsumi's room. Uni been drinking? After I watched him go,
片付けますか。
I left the 3 cups left on the table with 3 of my fingers. Thought he was about to say 3 of his hands. Maybe he did fall from the sky if that was the case. Cups in hand, I walked toward the sink. The hold of my 3 fingers on the handles were rather precarious. Oh. I thought he was like doing something fancy like. You know, like, I don't know. Okay, but he got looped the cups. Okay, I gotcha. Gotcha. And just as I tried to get a better grip, yeah. The cup slipped right out of my hands. I'm trying to remember if,
やっちまった。
seems like I do remember Kokoro zipping back over there while to cups being on the floor. I grumbled as I gathered up the broken pieces. 1, 2, 3, I picked them up without even thinking about it. The moment I reached out for the next broken piece, finally noticed it. I jumped back in confusion, feeling like I touched something I wasn't supposed to. A few fragments slipped from my hands, fluttering and dancing in the air like scraps of paper. No, that's not it. Those really are scraps of paper. Tiny characters were squeezed into each scrap. I could tell at a glance that it was a newspaper. I should have recognized the newspaper scraps for what they were, but for some reason I'd mistaken them for something else. To put it precisely, I was convinced that they were the pieces of broken cups, because up until just now, there really had been cups in my hand, and yet, just like magic, they'd suddenly transformed into a newspaper. Still reeling from the shock, I almost forgot to breathe altogether. The man standing beside me spoke. It's Yomogi, the man in that dream. Why is he here? The answer's obvious. I guess my consciousness had once again been pulled into the dream world.
世話が焼けるよな。どうしてこんなことをって言ってもだか。おそらく理性ではどうにもならない発作なんだろうね。やれやれだ。
With those words, Yomogi knelt down and began collecting up the newspaper scraps. Someone else decided to silently help him. It was Uni. Looking across the room, I could see Lynn there too. She was chewing on something with her chin planted on the table. Was it gum? She seemed pretty listless and had an apathetic look on her face. I was in the mountain cabin. Everything in the room was almost identical to the dream I'd seen earlier. If I had to name a single difference, it'd undoubtedly be the scraps of paper that were scattered all over the floor. The monkey turned around, still kneeling on the floor and grumbling as he picked up the scraps. Oops. It'd be meaningless to say anything to the characters in a dream, waving my hands in a gesture of please keep it up. Actually, I don't know how to gesture, please keep it up. I headed over to the cabin window. I hope I don't have to actually mime that because now I don't know how to communicate that. I know I could do this. One time, somebody did that at work. I kind of got pissed off. You know, because I was actually working. There was a blizzard outside. I could tell due to the countless snowflakes striking the glass and the gloomy echoes that filled the room. I gazed into the darkness of the storm, but besides the swirling light, there was nothing out there to be seen. I turned my eyes to the surface of the glass. Though I had already expected this, I couldn't help but despair whenever I saw my reflection. Just as I'd feared, the face of that unknown woman still reflected in the surface of the glass. Those words left my mouth unconsciously. It's you, another self whispered to me. Okay. I know that already, but just to be sure, I had to confirm it with my own eyes. Okay, as he... That was kind of strange. I tried smiling, pursing my lips, bringing a hand to my cheek. No matter what I did, the woman reflecting the glass matched my movements perfectly. There was bilateral symmetry and no time difference. She reproduced everything I did without discrepancy exactly the same way. I turned away from the window. Surprise that! Oh, cool, it's me. Yeah. She immediately turned around as well, staring at me with eyes full of suspicion. It's funny that that's something you see in like the, in the cartoons and that sort of thing. Still standing there by the window, I looked down at my body, a ribbon at my chest, a light pink skirt, and high lace-up boots. Opened my hands and placed them together. My reaction speed was no different than it was in reality. I swung my arms. I did a stretch, I jumped, I even did a knee-high dash. And I tried again without using my hands, and my movements became pretty awkward. Okay, let's do some push-ups now. Again, I'm just thinking that, this is one room here with almost everybody in the room, unless, I think everybody's probably still in the room. They're just over here looking at him go like, or her, him or her, whatever you would say. Be like, she's crazy. She's lost it. 1, 2, 3. Before I reached double digits, my head collapsed to the wooden floor in exhaustion. I had an overwhelming lack of physical strength. The physical endurance of this body was far different than what I'd expected, a divergence between the mental and physical self. Though the body was still made of normal human flesh, it felt like it was composed of something akin to jelly. I got up unsteadily and wiped the dust from my clothes. Thankfully, there was no hindrance to everyday movement. The real problem was the potential physical output and stamina. I like how he words stuff, it's hilarious. This body has less physical stamina. Nor was it just that. In the long run, there were two differences I was unlikely to adapt to easily. First, the mammary organs growing on my chest. They weren't all that big, but that didn't change the fact that they were definitely depressingly there. The idea that something that shouldn't be there actually was, just as though it were natural, made me feel uncomfortable. And I'm assuming the opposite is also, the exact opposite of that statement is true, that something that is normally there and then isn't, be equally uncomfortable. As far as I'm concerned, they were undesired and nothing but an obstacle. Moreover, there were two of them. Don't saddle me with these things was one of the complaints I wanted to make. And on top of that, I really want to do something about this feeling of oppression on my chest. Okay, that's what happened. Undid an arm into my clothes, searched along my back, and undid the hook there. Became a little easier to breathe. Secondly, my lower half felt cold. Yeah, I was actually thinking that there in Kokoro's route that she keeps her skirt on. You would think she'd fix something up as pants, you know. It was drafty and the skirt made me feel uneasy. Do the creatures known as women really walk around wearing something that renders them so defenseless? It's somehow hard to believe. Tried pushing the skirt up between my thighs. Didn't fit there very well. Seriously, is Yomogi, is everybody watching all this happening at this time? Tried pulling it up around my rear, but as I feared, it didn't help at all. Then something hit me. Something that shouldn't be there. Something that shouldn't be there actually was. I was well aware of that terrible situation. Moreover, it was a case of something that should have been there now isn't. Oh yeah, I forgot the most important thing. Okay. Feeling a little dismayed, I tried searching around for it. Nope, ain't finding it. Seriously, this is really awkward if everybody's watching. It wasn't there. Has anybody found anything? I'm missing something. That would be awkward. Well, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and cut it here, guys. I do hope you folks enjoyed, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Farewell there.